everyone. Welcome to week 5, module 5 of English Composition 1. This week, you're going to be working on writing a rough draft of an op-ed. Basically, an op-ed is just an argument paper where you present an argument, something that you feel strongly about, and you work to convince your reader to agree with you. So you're going to read some information about writing an effective op-ed. If you go here, you'll see this is from Duke University. So you're going to read all of this information that should help you get started. And then you'll also be looking at MLA Works Cited electronic sources. That'll bring you to the OWL at Purdue site. This will show you how to create the website. You can also, the citation, I'm sorry. You can also use this citation machine if you want. You can give it a shot and see if it works. Otherwise, follow the instructions that you will see down here about how to set up the website citation. I would also like you to view a couple of videos. One is how to integrate quotes, which means how to seamlessly put quotes from your sources into your essay so it all flows together smoothly. Then I have MLA for Dummies. If you're still stuck on how to cite sources via using MLA, please watch that video. Then I would like you to read the instructions for the rough draft so that you can understand what you're thinking of as you're going forward. You're going to read developing a working thesis statement, and the discussion forum for this week will be your working thesis statement. So you're going to share that with your peers. And I would like this to be submitted, at least the first prompt submitted by Wednesday, so that you can receive feedback in time to write your paper. I'd like to be able to look at everybody's thesis statements ahead of time so that you know if you're headed in the right direction with that before you start working on your rough draft. So please get that working thesis statement posted, at least that initial response by Wednesday, because starting Thursday, I'll make sure that I get through everybody's so that everybody has comments from me, so you know if you're headed in the right direction with that thesis statement. So for the rough draft of the MLA style op-ed, I want you to know that I'm accepting 3 pages in length for your rough draft, but ultimately the final version will be 5 pages. This should be double spaced, and you should use Times New Roman 12 font. Please also remember to indent at the beginning of every paragraph. Some of you are forgetting to do that, and it's really important that you do. Again, here's another link to that same article from before, that Duke article, Writing Effective Op-Eds. And here's some thoughts. You're going to be persuading your audience to see your side of the question that you have chosen. So whatever it is that you're arguing, you're trying to persuade your reader to agree with you. You will need to determine who the primary audience will be for your piece. Sometimes it will be somebody who doesn't agree with you, which is probably the strongest way to go because you want to convince people to agree with you. So whoever that might be. So your process here, start with a strong attention grabber, state the question or the problem, use a thesis statement, stating your position. Evidence should be supported by sources. You should have a counterclaim and refuting evidence. Now, a counterclaim is if somebody disagrees with you, what would they say to you? So you may need to find at least one source that has somebody who feels the opposite of what you feel about this issue so that you can address it in your essay. And when you refute that information, you're basically presenting the information, but also then sort of tearing it down so your reader doesn't all of a sudden side with the other person. So the idea of refuting it is to prove it false, to prove it wrong. And then some kind of call to action at the end, but don't say call to action in the actual essay. I've seen a lot of people in their essays go, my call to action is, Don't do that. Don't say that. Just what is it that you want to see people do? What is it you want to see people change about how they live their lives or the way they think about something? So just don't just say my call to action is. Okay, so you're going to need a minimum of 2 reliable sources whose purpose is scholarly in nature. Try to stick to .edu or .gov domains, no blogs at all, please. You can use .orgs if I've given you permission to use them, and you can use .com if I've given you permission. Now remember, .com is fine if it's like a reputable newspaper, like the New York Times or the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal. Use correct MLA formatting, including header, heading, and text citations, and a works cited page. If you have questions about that, please let me know. If you're confused about how to do that, talk to me, and you know, I can help you figure that out. Your paper should be typed using Times New Roman 12 font. It should be double spaced, including throughout. Oh, it says including between paragraphs, but I'm going to remove that. So do not have double spaces between your paragraphs. Please do not do that. I'm not even really sure why that's in there. And in the works cited section, it should be double spaced and left aligned. No extra spaces between paragraphs. Sorry, I did add that there, I see, but it wasn't taken out earlier. Refer to the OWL at Purdue website for additional help on formatting MLA. Okay, so let's go back. Just a second. Okay, so again, as usual, please take the survey at the end of the week. If you have questions about anything about the rough draft of the op-ed assignment, ask in the discussion forum. Now, one thing that I'd like to say, especially if it's a question about MLA, don't just go in and say, I don't get it. I don't know how to cite sources using MLA. Tell me how. I want you to have looked at all the information I've given you. I want you to have looked at the electronic sources. I would want you to look at MLA for Dummies and then say to me, I don't understand this aspect of it or that aspect of it or whatever it is. I want to be able to help you. I want to be able to target what you need in my response to your question. So it's important to be as specific as you can be. Again, if you could let me know that you've seen my answer to your question, I'd really appreciate that, because sometimes I answer a question sometimes pretty extensively, and I don't know for sure if the student saw my response or if my response was at all helpful. So please let me know that you've seen my response. And finally, as usual, continue to use the virtual coffee house. I think it's a great opportunity for people to get to know each other. And you can talk about the class if you want, but you don't have to. So that's what's great about it. All right, well, I appreciate everyone taking a look at this video, and I hope that you have a great week 5. See ya.